Well, thank you, Chairman, for calling up my legislation, the Financial Privacy Act. I hope that it'll get a good bipartisan vote today, and I want to thank Mr. Himes and Mr. Sherman for their support in this issue. It's in the theme of making sure that we have the right oversight and the transparency of Americans' personal data as it relates to the Treasury Department. Even as this data has proliferated across the federal workspace, I'm proud that this committee has taken issues surrounding individual citizens' privacy very seriously. In 2018, our overhaul of CFIUS introduced new protections for all Americans' sensitive private data. This House provision now forms the basis of personal data safeguards in other parts of the federal government. The European Union's investment screening framework now highlights sensitive data as well. And over the course, in February, we debated and reported Chairman McHenry's Data Privacy Act, a very important bill, essential to our digital future, and I hope that it will see House floor action soon. The focus of these efforts was minimizing the risk of our data falling into the hands of companies and foreign governments. My bill today addresses privacy from a related but ultimately different angle. Each and every day, the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, collects around 55,000 reports under the Bank Secrecy Act. This includes suspicious activity reports, currency transaction reports, and soon, in my opinion, unfortunately, beneficial ownership reporting. The scope of this collection by our own government is staggering. Since 2001, FinCEN has taken in, Mr. Chairman, over 350 million currency transaction reports and SARs, 350 million. And when beneficial ownership comes online, Treasury estimates that 32 million businesses will be implicated and impacted by that rule in the first year, with another 5 million added each year after that. That's a lot of reporting. Let's be clear, no one is arguing that financial institutions shouldn't help FinCEN by flagging suspicious activity. No one is arguing that. But at the same time, no one claims that this system is anywhere close to being right-sized. How many Bank Secrecy Act reports have led to anti-money laundering convictions? That question gets asked in this committee so frequently. How often do agencies outside Treasury request access to that data, and for what purpose? What protects Americans from unauthorized disclosure of a report with their personal details? No one outside of FinCEN knows the answers to these questions, and Congress needs the answers. And this is why it's especially true as the Treasury Inspector General completes a comprehensive audit of FinCEN's data management policies. The first installment of that audit, published just last month, should cause us deep concern. Not only does the IG criticize FinCEN for failing to adequately limit access to data that is inaccurate, duplicative, or highly sensitive, but it also notes that FinCEN retains Bank Secrecy Act data indefinitely. Indefinitely. My bill would let in much-needed sunlight to this obscure area in an all-encompassing regime at Treasury. First, it would require Treasury to deliver annual statistics on BSA data collection, including future beneficial ownership reports, so that Congress can come to grips with just what does FinCEN have as its reach, data collection practices, and disclosure risks. I believe that the numbers may lead Treasury itself to realize that BSA reports involve too much haystack and not enough needles. Second, this legislation will give Congress insights into the protocols that govern other agencies' access to FinCEN data, including access by our intelligence agencies. My legislation would allow us to understand these protocols contain, how many queries agencies submit in order to access data, and when these requests are denied, if ever. Finally, the bill would ask the Treasury Secretary to annually review these protocols so BSA data and its administration are tailored to law enforcement purposes that Congress has authorized. I'm pleased that these priorities are shared across our committee. The authorities that have been delegated to FinCEN over the past several decades are enormous, and we must be sure that they are wielded responsibly. I encourage all my colleagues to support the Financial Privacy Act and yield back the balance of my time.